Backtesting your algorithm is one of the most exciting and interesting ways to see if you've come across a winner. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how to backtest your algorithm on MetaTrader 5. There's a few things you need in order to be able to complete this episode. First things first, you need to have an algorithm to test. On my channel, I've been showing people how to build an RSI algorithm, and you're absolutely welcome to check that out. Or if you've got your own expert advisor already, no need to worry. Secondly, you definitely need a working MetaTrader 5 terminal in order to be able to use this episode. All of our testing is going to be in MetaTrader 5, and I'll show you how to optimize and backtest any expert advisor that you have. I look forward to seeing you there. So far, we've been spending most of our time going through the code on our code editor to build our MetaTrader 5 trading bot. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and start using the MetaTrader 5 terminal to be able to backtest our strategy. Now, our initial backtests are going to be probably quite terrible, and that's okay. Over the following episodes, I'm going to show you how to start implementing more and more complex ways of making your trading bot more effective. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to move over to our MetaTrader 5, and we're going to move to our strategy section. This is it here. Now, if you want to know how to get to that, I'll just move my screen over here. You do that by going View and Strategy Tester. So View, Strategy Tester. Okay, let's start setting it up. So if we go to our settings, let's have a look at the one that we want to backtest. So here, we want to get our RSI Trading Bot tutorial, YouTube. Okay, what symbol? So currently we're going to have a look at the US 30, which is fun. The M1 just to make it fast. Sorry, it'll be slower to backtest, but it'll just mean that we get more results we can analyze. And there's a bunch of settings that you can go through here. You've got things like making sure that you're using zero latency, which is ideal execution. So maybe not super close to the real world, but close enough for what we want to do here. We can choose how we want to model it, so we can do every tick. You can do the open prices only, however you want to do that, what deposit you want to start with, what currency you're using, and what kind of leverage that you want. Now, I'd recommend for anything like this that you go through and play around with these settings and figure out what's going to work best for you. Okay, once we've set this screen up, then we can move to our inputs. So there's a bunch of things that we can try here. So we can see if there's going to be any difference when we use our live RSI price. We can have a look at our RSI high threshold. So currently that's 70, but we could test between 60 and 80. Same thing for our RSI low threshold. What take profit we want to use, what stop loss we want to use, and if we want to make any change in our lot size or maximum number of concurrent trades. Okay, now you can see here that if I test all of these parameters as they are, there's 847,602 tests, which is ginormous. There's a few different things that you can do to reduce the number of backtests that you want to do. The first thing that you could probably do is have a look at if you want to change any of these parameter ranges. So here you can see we've got between 20 and 40 with a step of 1 for the RSI low threshold. If we change this to be 25 to 35, you can immediately see that we drop the number of tests that we're doing almost by half, which is pretty huge. However, you might be quite happy doing that, and you might be happy to go through all of the tests. So something else you could have a look at and think about is going back to your settings and having a look at this one here, this fast genetic based algorithm. Okay, now what this has is a couple of different things in there. So if I pull this drop down, well, no, I can't do both at once. If I pull this drop down, you can see here we can do a fast genetic one, which is which basically looks at the way that the algorithm's working and tries to optimize for the ones that are going to give you the best result. And you can have a look at the slow complete algorithm. That'll mean it goes through literally every single test. We're going to do the fast genetic based algorithm, and we'll see how long it's projected to take, and then I'll come back after it's done. So 847,602 tests. Let's hit start and see what happens. You can see here that of the roughly 800,000 different types of runs that we could have done for the backtester, we actually only ran 11,000, which is how this genetic algorithm actually works. What it does is it looks at the start, you can see it does a bunch of exploration around all the different parameters that you've provided and attempts to find a set of parameters that it thinks is going to yield the highest result. From there, it just starts to optimize them every now and again, testing something different. And that's why you can see this curve along here that kind of shows you the direction that it's going. Now, of course, there are some downsides to this approach. For instance, there might be some set of parameters that were totally missed. I mean, 11,000 from 800 and something thousand is not really that many, so it can be a bit of a risk doing that. That said, to do those 11,000, it took 10 minutes. So if I wanted to do 800,000, it would be probably several days of backtesting. So up to you which way you want to go. Anyway, I guess back to our algorithm, the important thing is that at no point in time did we get any profit. And in fact, some of them went pretty low. So we start off with $100,000. The worst result was $38,000 and the highest result was $99,223.60. So in the next episode, we're going to head back to our trading bot and I'm going to start to show you how to implement things like candlestick patterns and maybe some other indicators to try and get this number to a better result. So let's figure that out. See you there.